Welcome to rounds 3 and 4 of the Miller's Oils Toyota MR2 Championship from Brands Hatch. 4 weeks ago, Sean Traynor did the double at Donington Park in his Mark II, but there is a host of drivers trying to stop him. And they're not all in Mark IIs, as Matt Suckling found out.
Dave Hemingway from the MR2 Championship. You're in a slightly different car, of course, the Mark I, the older one. How does that compare with the more newer cars?
It's only a 1600 engine, so it's quite a bit slower on the straights. I think it's a little bit lighter, so we can corner better, a little bit more nimble. So we sort of run midfield, mid to backfield, so it's a little bit interesting down there.
But these wet conditions must suit you a little bit more because it levels it out slightly.
Well, I raced at Donington, I did put it midfield. I got 18th out of 36 at Donington in the qualifying, so I'm quite happy with that. But in race 2 it dried out and I was getting picked off quite badly by the back of the field.
But it's good to see the numbers once again in the championship doing so well, so there's always someone to fight with.
Yeah, it's fairly competitive all the way through. Wherever you're racing in MR2s, there's always someone to race with, so it's good. And
is Brands Hatch a circuit you like? You've done well in the past?
I can't say I've ever done well here, but it's not got the straights of Donington and Snetterton, so it's probably going to suit the Mark I better than any other circuit with it being quite tight and twisty. I'm a little bit worried about start-finish straight, but we'll see if we can hold us on.
And what would you kind of be happy with to take away from the day's racing?
Class awards are not really all that important. Myself and Merrill are going to share them today, so I'd like to be up there with mixing it with the Mark IIs and Mark IIIs. It'll put the Mark Is back on the map. It's a lowest formula, so if we can start mixing it with the Mark IIs, it's going to be quite good.
Maxine, you've had a great start to the season. Donington Park was a great progressive round for you. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I was quite nervous coming back for my second season because the pressure was on a little bit. I needed to progress from last year and I didn't want to sort of stay where I was, so I was really happy.
Now we're here at Brands Hatch, round 2, a little bit wet today. What are you hoping for?
It's always wet for Brands when I race, but it's difficult because you've got to be disciplined with the braking and when you get the power on and stuff, so I've just got to make sure that I keep myself focused. And I've got to try and go a little bit faster than I did at Donington in the wet, so I want to try and keep up and get further up the grid than I would normally. So just pushing on and really trying to just keep my confidence, keep my nerve. If I have a spin, just get back on it. Don't let it worry me too much and just push on again.
Well, such is the size of the entry here at Brands Hatch that it's had to be split into 3, and each driver is going to race twice, so 3 races in total today. Bad news for pole position man Ben Rowe. Car problems in qualifying means that he has taken over his dad's car and starts at the back. Lights out, away we go. So we're on board with Chris White there from the outside of the 3rd row of the grid, but what a start he has made. He's alongside there Alex Knight, who was the sole remaining driver on the front row of the grid. White goes to try go around the outside of Nigel's Mick Nichols, that is, that spins around in the Mark III. Off onto the grass he goes, well out of the way of everybody else, thankfully. So Mick Nichols from the 2nd row of the grid is going to go right to the back of the field. Lots of work for Mick to do then, as the leaders already flowing down towards Graham Hill Bend for the first time. The 40 car there is that of Lewis Ward. Here's Shane Mansbridge. We go on board with Shane. He started on the 7th row of the grid. Towards the left-hander they go at Surtees, then it's the right-hander at McLaren. There you can see Dave Hemingway's Mark I just in the middle of that group. There's Shane Mansbridge in the red and yellow car going through. And there is the race leader. At the end of the first lap of the race then it is Chris White that leads the way then. From in 2nd place the 73 car of Simon Wallace. In 3rd place is number 33, which is Alex Knight. This is the replay from Mick Nichols' point of view at the start of the race, so he couldn't capitalise on that big yawning gap ahead of him on the grid where Ben Rowe wasn't. There's that great start from Chris White. Around the outside he went. On the brakes was Alex Knight ahead of us as he tried to control the car. Nichols just seemed to lose the back end. Don't think he was too happy with that. Onto the grass he went, and fortunately not too much damage done. Track was clear, he could continue. It's going on for everybody else meantime. There is that Mark 1 of Dave Hemingway, car number 5. And he's actually going very well indeed, up inside the top 6 overall. That, of course, a 1600cc car. The Mark 2s are 2 litre cars, and the Mark 3s, I should say, are 1.8 litre cars. And they've all got different weights as well. So they'll all have different characteristics. A change there up on the inside was number 11. Now that is the car of Jim Davis, the man who won the Mark 3 championship last year, was the closest challenger to Matt Palmer in the overall title race, but as you can see he's in a Mark 2. It's not actually the Mark 2 that he was racing at the end of last season though, of the Rogue Motorsport cars. On board we go again with Shane Mansbridge. Oh, what a big moment there. That is the 21 car of Phil Hutchins. Now is he going to get out of the gravel? He should do, I would think, with rear wheel drive. And this is a challenge on for the lead of the race now, because that's Jim Davis going around the outside of Chris White, and he's done it. Brilliant move that from Jim Davis. Well, he started the race 5th, he was 4th at the end of lap 1, and in not too much time he's taken the lead of the race. Chris White fight back though. Looks like we've still got the 73 car of Simon Wallace in our mirrors. He there is then in 3rd place. Oh, I spoke too soon. He spins around at Graham Hill Bend. Alex Knight therefore nips around the outside of him and up into 3rd place. Oh, it's gone from bad to worse for Simon Wallace. 3rd place has really gone for a person. That's Shane Mansbridge coming through now, and he's going to drop well back down the order, the bottom half of the field I would think. But here is Mansbridge then, through Surtees and McLaren now towards Clearways, the right-hander. Mansbridge, who started 13th. Oh, in a moment there, that is the 60 car of Trevor Cooper. The Yorkshireman has a moment. He's off onto the grass as well, which is very wet and slippery after quite a bit of overnight rain here at Brands Hatch. There's Hemingway. Just behind him is that number 40 Lewis Ward car. Number 80 going through shot as well is David Asprey. Just behind him, well, that looks to be the number 31 car, and that of course is the man from the back of the grid, Ben Rowe. It's the car his father David would normally be racing. Well, there's the top 3 going through. Jim Davis, the man from Stratford, has made a bit of a break, so it's White now in the number 4 car. The driver from Maidenhead just behind him is Alex Knight from Glasgow. Go on board with Mansbridge once again. Still with those wipers. I don't think it's raining too heavily now. There's still some moisture being flicked up onto the screen. Oh, and he's lost it, and he's off. That's Clark Curve. It's been Simon Wallace actually that's gone back through, having had his own moment a couple of laps ago. Mansbridge has lost ground there, and he'll be frustrated with that. There's one of the Mark 3s going through. I think that's Andrew Strange. Oh, and off. That's Lewis Ward into the gravel trap. Keeps the foot in, and he gets out of it again. But Lewis Ward, he was running in around about 6th position, I think it was. He loses some positions. And Alex Knight there flying through on the inside of Chris White at Surtees. He moves up to 2nd place then, as this race moves into its closing stages. So Knight with his brothers also racing here this weekend. You might see those during the course of the action. That shot illustrates very well the lead now that Jim Davis is enjoying over Alex Knight in 2nd, Chris White in 3rd position. Turning their way through Paddock Hill Bend once more, dropping down the hill. Yeah, White, having lost that position on what turns out to be the penultimate lap of the race, he's now falling quite a few car lengths back. Sense that White has done quite well to keep Knight behind him for much of the race. But Davis here, well, he has had a very strong performance, hasn't he? He's already making his way down the Cooper Straight. Right, well, not entirely convincing through Graham Hill Bend there. I thought he was on the verge of losing it. right on the limits of adhesion, I'd suspect. Up towards Surtees he goes. Now through the right-hander. I think we've got our top 3 set as far as this race is concerned. Jim Davis has a slower car ahead of him, but I don't think he'll catch it before they get to the line. I think it's Trevor Cooper in actual fact. So checkered flag is made ready, and having missed the Donington Park event, it's a first win of the season for Jim Davis in the Miller's Oil Toyota MR2 Championship. Alex Knight is second, and in third place it's Chris White. So Jim Davis very happy with that. A good start to his season. As I say, he missed the opening meeting at Donington because of injury. Cars continuing to come through at the end of their race. Problems after the checkered flag there for Cam Walton. Even bigger problems though for Jim Davis. He was one of 3 cars excluded for a technical irregularity, along with Phil Hutchins and Ben Rowe. So Knight it was that was credited with the win in the end from Christian White and Mark Barber. Further back down the order, Simon Wallace was 7th after his spin ahead of Lewis Ward, Jonathan Grimes and Shane Mansbridge completing the top 10. Fastest lap of the race went to Alex Knight. Well, don't go away because there's more racing coming up from the MR2 Championship right after this break. Second race of the weekend has Alex Knight and Rob Wells starting on the front row of the grid. We're on board with Maxine Nichols, who does not make a good getaway in the MJ Warner Accident Repair Centre entered car. She's swallowed up by the rest of the pack, including number 50, Andrew Strange, so she now has a lot of work to do. Through Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Good start from Rob Wells and from Stewart Nichols, also from the outside line. Oh, and a moment there. That is number 92, Dan Holmes, going for a spit, and he started right at the back of the grid. He's recovered from that moment and is able to continue, but look at it, side by side for the lead of the race. Heading down towards Graham Hill Bend, it's Wells and Stewart Nichols. Stewart Nichols started 4th, Wells started 2nd on the grid. On board here with Chris White on the podium earlier on today. Classified 2nd in the end after the exclusion of Jim Davis. Oh, and it's another moment, another elementary mistake there from Holmes, I'm afraid. Once more, he's able to continue though. So there is Wells, and there is Nichols right behind him. Then it's Knight in 3rd, Sean Traynor in 4th position. He started this race 6th, and of course he was a double winner at Donington Park in the opening meeting of the season. Those were his first 2 wins in the MR2 Championship, having had a few reasonable results towards the end of last season in particular. Still a relative newcomer to the MR2 Championship. 44-year-old from Winchester, car maintained by Lee Hall. 5th overall in the championship he was last year, but we go on board here with Stewart Nichols, who's been racing in the MR2 Championship for quite a few seasons now. He's there in his Mark III Roadster, just behind Rob Wells in the lead of the race then. There is Traynor, just behind him. I think he's got the 8 car of Tim Herron. Tim also having now been competing in this championship for a few seasons. Knight, there you can see, in the white and red car in 3rd place. Knight then classified as winner. It's his 2nd time he's been classified as a winner at Brands Hatch in the past few seasons. Towards Druids they go. Thought that Nichols was showing his nose there to the race leader, but didn't make anything of it really. All still quite tightly bunched at this stage of the race. Oh, a spinner, that's the 44 car of Wayne Lewis. Wayne started on row 5 of the grid, the driver Rochford. See Nichols now trying to recover that dreadful start, of course. She had a very encouraging meeting at Donington Park. She was quite pleased with her form there, improving all the time, turning her way through Surtees. She's got another of the roadsters just ahead of her at the moment. Here are the leaders though, down into the right-hander, and Maxine's brother Stewart is in 2nd place at the moment, just behind Rob Wells. Alex Knight right behind. It's really 5 cars for the lead, and a bit of a gap back to Simon Wallace in 6th position in the number 73 car. And Nichols going for the lead there around the outside at Druids. He was alongside. Tucks back in behind Wells. Now has the inside line on the exit. Now looking for the inside at Graham Hill Bend. Wells moves across to cover that. Loses a car length, does Nichols. Brings Knight back into play. Onto Cooper Straight, which isn't that straight, really. There's kink in it now on the run towards Surtees. Trainer under pressure from Herron as well. Certainly not the form Trainer showed at Donington Park. Well, some of the drivers in this race have already had one round earlier on today, perhaps a bit more used to the track conditions than Sean Trainer is, I should say. Wells, Nichols now pulling away from Knight, then Trainer in 4th. In 5th place Herron, in 6th place Simon Wallace. Through paddock, this round 3 and 4 we have this weekend of the Miller's Oils Toyota MR2 Championship. It's a long season for these guys, 16 rounds being taken in altogether. So still only a quarter of the way through even after this weekend. Herron turning out of Graham Hill Bend onto Cooper Straight once more. Back on board we go with Christian White. He's in 7th place at the moment. Simon Wallace in the red car, you can see up ahead of him. Just got a bit of daylight to try and cover before he can get on terms with Wallace. Wallace in that 73 car, the driver from Milton Keynes. Still, it's Wells that's ahead of Nichols out front though. On board we go now with Nichols. Good view here. Nichols looks to carry more speed out of paddock. Wells was using perhaps a bit too much curb there. That seemed to unsettle the car a little bit. So Nichols able to close the gap. Under acceleration, obviously Wells just pulls away a little bit more. And the break again for Graham Hill. 43 meanwhile. That is the car of Darren Aldworth. Darren had a pretty strong opening meeting of the season at Donington Park. 7th and an 8th place finish for the driver of car number 43. Here though he's running a bit further down the order than he would have liked. Wells and Nichols, but Nichols closing the gap as they come through clearways. Now towards Clark Curve they go. Nichols is getting alongside now. Wells is moving across to try and defend, but Nichols is already partly alongside and have the inside line as well for Paddock Hill Bend now at the start of another lap. And I think he might have done it. Has Nichols gone through? Yes, he has. So at the start of lap 9 of the race, Stewart Nichols goes through to take the lead. It's a 13-minute plus 1 lap race. Looking at the lap times, I think we'll get something like 14 laps out of this, so around about 2/3 distance. I think that Nichols has got through. Can Wells fight back though? It's now Trainer in 3rd position. Knight having dropped back down the order. Good to see a few of the roadsters out this weekend, but it's not going well there for number 50, which is the Londoner, Andrew Strange. Back marker, Merrill Reddit there to be dealt with by the race leader, Stewart Nichols. And now there's a challenge on here, isn't there? Because Sean Trainer, that is, under threat from Tim Herron now. And Herron, well, not able to do anything about him because they're just having to negotiate that back marker. Alex Knight there in the white and red car going through the leader. Well, the second placeman, the former leader, goes straight on at Druids. He quickly regains himself and continues, but he's lost a couple of places there, so let's just try and make sense of exactly where he's coming through. Second, third, he's now down into 4th position, isn't he? Because that has meant that Sean Trainer has gone up to 2nd and Tim Herron to 3rd position. Nichols it is that leads. We go back on board with Maxine Nichols. Oof, no, I was going to say can't quite take the avoiding action because the number 29 car spun ahead of her. That was the Birmingham man, Martin Farhi. Other spinners as well in avoidance, but the man from Birmingham, the former championship winning car, having a spin there. Well, last lap, and it looks like Alex Knight is going to try and get ahead of Rob Wells, and that would be for 4th position. It's still Nichols leading, Trainer 2nd, and Herron in 3rd place. They now drop down once more to Graham Hill Bend. Stewart Nicholas, the TV cameraman, and now part-time racing driver as well, continues to lead the race in number 88, backed by Ware Heating and Bathroom Supplies. 88 car then turns its way through Clark Curve up towards the checkered flag with a decent enough advantage in hand over the 2nd place man. He's waiting for the flag, and he knows now he's done it. He's delighted, is Stewart Nicholas, to get his first win of the season. He had a 2nd and a 4th at Donington Park, and now he has a win here at Brands Hatch. So let's have a look at the results then, and it was indeed a win for Stewart Nicholas. He won by half a second from Sean Trainer, who got the fastest lap of the race on a 59.75. Tim Herron was 2nd ahead of Rob Wells, Alex Knight and Mark Barber. Further back down the order, Chris White was 7th, Simon Wallace 8th, Nigel Ralphson 9th and Phil Hutchins 10th. Class winners were Stewart Nicholas, of course, Sean Trainer, and Class A being won by Merrill Reddit.
The biggest thing today was managing the track conditions, because it improved as the race went on. It was knowing how hard you could push at what point, and that allowed me to kind of feel my way in. When Rob didn't brake for the first time going through 30s, I was like, okay, we can go through there without braking then, let's try that.
First victory of 2015, a few more to come now this year?
Let's hope so. I want to stay with the pack. You know, it's no secret that I'm going to go for the championship, class and main championship, so let's just see what we can do from here.
Well, Sean Trainer, good job you did at Donington Park, and another good job here on the podium.
Yeah, just from where I started, I couldn't, just give it a go, and got the first corner right, and managed to stay with the pair to start with, and then as the conditions dried, it played into my hands a bit more. So, yeah, happy where it's come out.
And what are you thinking going through those last few laps? Just keep it on the track and keep it where it is.
Yeah, that's all you can think. Yeah, as it dried, it got a lot more easy to handle. Those first 2 laps, they were the ones that I wasn't too happy with it, but when it started to dry out, it became a bit easier, apart from I've got Tim breathing down my neck, which was never easy, no.
And as we know, Brands Hatch very short, and you catch a lot of the back markers as well.
To be fair, the back markers caught them just at the right time, didn't cause any issues. So, yeah, but it worked out pretty good. They come across them just at the right time.
Tim Herron on the podium there in the 2nd MR2 race. Lots going on. How was it from your point of view?
It was really good fun. I had the mistake at Donington of fighting in the race too soon. But in this race, I decided to not fight from the first few laps, try and get a bit of a gap to the guys behind me, and give us all a bit of breathing space in the first 5 or 6 to have a bit of a fight near the end. And that worked really well. We gapped the guys behind us, and then we could just slog it out up front without worrying about falling into the clutches of those behind us.
And as we know, in that little battle, there's about 4 or 5 of you, so it's kind of trying to be on the podium rather than off it. That's it.
I mean, I had a bit of luck along the way. Some people sort of ran wide ahead of me, and I had a good fight with Sean. He got past, well, I got past him, and then he got back past me with a good move. So, yeah, good fun racing.
Final race of the weekend then, 4th Millers Oils Toyota MR2 Championship. This time it's Rob Wells on pole position, but no Ben Rowe next to it. Stewart Nicholas and Mick Nichols on row 2 of the grid. We go on board with Dave Hemingway, who starts on the outside of row 4 in his Mark 1. Conditions have improved since the earlier races. The lap times have been coming down throughout the day, so let's see what we can get down to in this one. Matt Palmer's lap record is a 57.35. I wonder if that's going to be under threat. There's the 95 car going through. Thomas Mailing's the red car, the driver from Malton. Short Oval is his background, but came into the MR2 Championship last year. Big field of cars, as we've said, almost 40 cars qualifying here at Brands Hatch. Good to see that Cam Walton has got back out in the number 56 car. On the Cooper straight he goes. That looks like Shane Mansbridge just up ahead. A side-by-side action. Turning their way through. Might well have been with the 44 car of Wayne Lewis as well, as we look back towards the sharp end of the field. And that was Herron we could see there. and he is just behind the 89 car of Mick Nichols. So Stewart Nichols and Mick Nichols together there. That battle between Wayne Lewis and Shane Mansbridge is still going on, but Cam Walton has just gone down the inside of both of them there, I think, as they went into Paddock Hill Bend and tried to make up a couple of positions. We'll see how successful he has been at that. Cam Walton starting on 10th position there, but here are the two leaders, Rob Wells and Sean Traynor. Wells, who led for the first 2/3 really of the second race, his first race, and Sean Traynor on the podium in the end in race number 2, but the double Donington Park winner. Wells showing good form here at Brands Hatch, but a bit of a mistake there going through McLaren, and that allows Sean Traynor to go through on the inside. Oh, a bit of door bashing there as they went through, and I think that has allowed Sean Traynor to make that position his own, or has it? Because it's good momentum being carried down the Brabham Straight now by Rob Wells. He's got his nose back in front as they go over the line to complete the second lap, and almost another touch there as they go through Paddock Hill Bend. Fantastic racing between this. Oh, there was some contact there, I'm sure of it, and that's allowed Wells to go back through. So it's Wells that leads. Traynor is in second place. It's pretty feisty stuff between the first two. Then it looks like it's Stewart Nichols in third place. Mick Nichols is in fourth. In fifth place, it's Tim Herron, and completing the top 6 at the moment is the on-the-road winner of race 1, Jim Davis, who was excluded afterwards for a technical reason. Here we are on board with Mick Nichols, looking backwards then to the 5th position man, Tim Herron. Good view this from backwards. Now we look forwards from Dave Hemingway's car. Not too much in front of him at the moment. He's in the Mark 1, of course, and as probably the conditions have dried out, so it's working against him a little bit. The lighter, less powerful car, the Mark 1, would have proved forward relatively better to the Mark 2s and 3s in the kind of conditions that we had earlier on, but he's now being swallowed up by the likes of there, for example, number 56, Cam Walton. Herron there is trying to get around the outside of Mick Nichols, but he's left the door open, hasn't he? Quite see how that resolved itself. There is Ben Rowe starting again, I think, from the back. See where he can fight his way up to this time. On board with Maxine Nichols. Dan Holmes ahead. Good scraps wherever you look really in this Middleton Oils Toyota MR2 Championship race. No surprise that it proved so popular, because there's always a battle to be had, always someone to race against. There's Maxine, you can see in the number 17 car, the black and pink Roadster. Very good number of Roadsters that we have here this weekend. There's Dan Holmes though in his Mark II, still the most numerically dominant type of car on the grid. Over the line they all go then. Starting another lap on this Brands Hatch circuit, which is now dry. As I say, we had a lot of overnight rain, but the conditions have gradually improved as the day has gone on, so that lap record of Matt Palmer's could be under threat at 57.35 as this race wears on. It's the 30 car you can see, which is Andrew Knight, brother of Alex. He's out in one of the Roadsters. Merrill Reddit as well in the other Mark 1. They're both out together in this race, but Hemingway certainly much the quicker of the two. So Lewis, Knight, and then Holmes going through on the inside, or trying to there. So this is a good scrap that we're seeing. It's outside of the top 10 at the moment, but very exciting racing for those involved and for those watching from the sidelines here at Brands Hatch. With this 3-race format, of course, the drivers who sit out at one of the 3 races can see their competitors in action, which they can't normally do, of course. So Rob Wells it is that leads. In second place is Sean Traynor, but look, Stewart Nichols is giving Traynor a very good run for his money here. But there's not too much really to choose between the first 3 cars. Now we saw towards the beginning of this race that quite feisty battle. I'm about to lap that the Richard Orme car, I think. The ex Mike Wells machine. Out of shape goes Maxine Nichols. Now I didn't see whether that was on her own or whether something caused that. Also going for spin is number 38, which is Anthony Knight, the third of the brothers. So both of those roadsters on that slippery grass. Here's a replay from Maxine's car. As the car take its own course. And once the spin has stopped, she regains control. And this is the battle for the lead, and it's still wide open, isn't it? And also it's a 3-car battle for 4th, 5th and 6th as well. Mick Nichols, Jim Davis and Tim Herron involved, but it's still Wells, Traynor and Nichols. Stewart Nichols up front, not too far away from lapping his sister now after she had that moment a lap or so ago. Oh, and a big tank slapper for the race leader, and Sean Traynor goes through. Oh, and he's right off the circuit, and into the barriers goes Rob Wells. Well, that was quite a long accident really. I thought he'd got that sorted, but it just went on, and off he went into the barriers, and Rob Wells from the lead of the race is out. You can see the damage that's done to the back of the car. So it's Sean Traynor that now assumes the mantle of race leader on lap 9. I think that was the lap on the previous race that Rob Wells lost out as well. Oh, Dan Holmes, where on earth is he going? Not quite sure what that was all about. He tried to dive through on the inside onto the wet grass, carried too much speed in, spun around. Fortunately Wayne Lewis missed him. Now I think there Maxine Nichols might have done her brother a bit of a favour, because I think she held up Sean Traynor. I'm sure unintentionally it's given Stewart Nichols a bit of a run on the race leader. Now the two of them are side by side as they go over the line. Further back, Cam Walton in the 56 car. He is still trying to make up some more ground, but he's running well. He's up into, I think, 6th position now. Down through Paddock Hill Bend, then climbing back up Halewood Hill towards Druids. Looks like Traynor managed to hold on to the lead of the race then from Nichols, but it was a close run thing for a while. Then it's Mick Nichols that's now 3rd. They go past the road, the Mark 1 I should say. Then it looks like it's Jim Davis 4th, Tim Herron in 5th. And yes, Cam Walton, you could just see there going through in 6th position in car number 56, the driver from Sussex. So there's Mick Nichols with Jim Davis just behind him, one of the Rogue hire cars. Towards the line they go, but here go the leaders once more. On to their last lap. And it's still Traynor ahead, but Nichols, well, we saw a lap or so ago, he could get quite close to Traynor towards the end of the lap, get alongside towards the end of the lap. If he can do it this time, well, that might just have a bearing on the overall result. Cam Walton trying to lap the Roadster in the Mark 1. Nigel Ralphson in the 85 car is going with him. So Stewart Nichols about 3 car lengths behind the lead. Oh, and Rob Wells has gone off again, and so has Dan Holmes, who's had a very exciting day. That's 4 moments that we've seen. There may have been others that we missed. Yellow flags waving at the final corner, and I think that has stymied any chances of Stewart Nichols mounting a late attack on Sean Traynor, who is going to come up to the checkered flag to take his 3rd win of the season in the Miller's Oils Toyota MR2 Championship. And again, problems towards the end of the race for Cam Walton, that car looking very smoky indeed. But the checkered flag has gone out, and it was a win for Sean Traynor, a class win for Stewart Nichols. Let's get confirmation of the result and the fact that the lap record has gone as well, because Sean Traynor on a 57.20 has gone underneath Matt Palmer's lap record. So it's Traynor, Nichols and Herron in top 3. Mick Nichols, Jim Davis and Cam Walton completing the top 6. William Gallagher was 7th, Shane Mansbridge 8th. Dave Hemingway won his class in 9th overall, and Wayne Lewis rounded out the top 10. How does that affect the point standings? Well, Sean Traynor it is that has 99 points now, ahead of Stewart Nichols. He's on 88, so 11 clear after just 4 of 16 rounds. Alex Knight is a long way back on 66, but let's not forget there's still 12 races to go in this Miller's Oils Toyota MR2 Championship.
Sean Trainer, another win to add to your tally for this season. How was that race for you?
That was good. Very eventful, shall I put it, in the end.
You had Stewart right with you as well to the flag.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. As usual. I never seemed to get a break from him.
He's always there. That's a good thing.
There, yeah.
But no, great racing here this weekend.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah. Everyone. I think everyone's been pretty much on it. So it's been hard work.
Stu, great day's work for you. Of course, podium in race 1 and a podium here in race 2. How did you find that one?
Do you know what? I was never thinking there was going to be a dry race today, and I wish I'd have put harder suspension on, because it felt like it was absolutely flying. There was some pace in the car, and I just wanted to watch Rob and Sean go at it and see if I could pick up some pieces. And Rob disappeared off, and then I took over, and I was going for Sean. I had a little bit of a break, 3 or 4 laps from the end, and then went at him again. But it was a really good race. It was so tight.
And you don't know, Tim, 2 podiums for you from the day as well. How was that race for you?
That was great fun. I had a big battle in the first half of the race with Jim and Mick. I couldn't get past him, I couldn't make any headway on him at all, so I decided to stop letting Jim breathe down my neck and let him pass, see if he could have a go. And they did. They went out hammer and tongs, and then later on in the race, right near the end, they both made a couple of mistakes which allowed me through. And me and Mick had a drag to the line. Yeah,
it wasn't over, was it? Right towards the flag. Mick was giving you a good run there.
That's it. He ran slightly wide on clearways, just enough to get my nose in, and then it was a drag to the line.
The next 2 rounds of the championship are at Croft. Join us then, but for now, from Brands Hatch, it's goodbye.